Hey, welcome back. Or if you're new here, good to have you. I'm Agent Monahan, and this is the channel where we take the topics people have always meant to look into, but never got around to. History, science, economics, politics, how things actually work. And we break them down in plain language anyone can follow. If that sounds like your kind of channel, hit subscribe and tap the bell so you don't miss it. Now, let's get into it. Today we're talking about two tools in the Constitution that almost everyone has heard of and almost no one has actually read. Impeachment under Article 2 and the 25th Amendment, specifically Section 4. Every few years one or both shows up in the news, and almost every time they get confused for each other. They are not the same thing. Different situations, different processes, very different bars to clear. So let's actually read them. Impeachment first. Article 2, Section 4 says the President can be removed on impeachment for and conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. That phrase means serious misconduct in office, abuse of power, corruption, betrayal of public trust. The House investigates, drafts articles of impeachment, a formal list of charges, and votes by simple majority. But being impeached does not mean you're removed. Impeachment is an indictment. The House has formally accused you. Removal requires a trial in the Senate and a two-thirds conviction. 67 votes out of 100. 3 presidents have been impeached. Andrew Johnson, Bill Clinton, and Donald Trump twice. All 3 were acquitted. Not one president has ever been removed through impeachment. That two-thirds bar is intentional. The founders did not want Congress removing a president over a policy dispute or a grudge. In practice, it means the president's own party would need to vote against him, and that almost never happens, which is why impeachment, for all its drama, has a perfect acquittal record. The founders designed a removal process that is technically possible but historically undefeated, which is either a testament to careful constitutional design or a very good streak. Now, the 25th Amendment, ratified in 1967 after the assassination of President Kennedy. Kennedy's death exposed a gap. What happens if the president is alive but cannot do the job? The amendment has 4 sections. Sections 1 through 3 cover succession and voluntary transfer of power. George W. Bush briefly made Dick Cheney acting president before a medical procedure. That's the cooperative version. Section 4 is the one people argue about. Section 4 covers the scenario where a president is incapacitated but won't or can't acknowledge it. The vice president and a cabinet majority send a written declaration to Congress. The president is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office. The moment that letter is sent, the vice president becomes acting president. But the president can fight back by sending his own declaration saying he is fit, and he automatically resumes his powers. The cabinet then has 4 days to send a second letter, after which Congress assembles within 48 hours and has 21 days to vote. To sustain the removal, Congress needs a two-thirds majority in both chambers, the same threshold as impeachment conviction. If they don't reach it, the president gets his powers back. Section 4 has never been used. The Reagan administration prepared the paperwork after he was shot in 1981 and chose not to sign it. For nearly 60 years, the most powerful, unused tool in the Constitution. So why do people confuse these two? Because they both end in the same place, a president no longer in office. But the reason is completely different. Impeachment is about wrongdoing. The president did something they shouldn't have. Section 4 is about incapacity. The president cannot do the job, not that they did something wrong. One is a punishment, the other is a contingency plan. The second difference is who starts the process. Impeachment is legislative. Congress does it. Section 4 is initiated by the executive branch itself, the vice president and the cabinet. You are asking the president's own team, people he appointed, who can be fired at any time, to declare him unfit. The political pressure not to sign that letter is enormous, which is part of why it has never been used. Imagine being asked to sign a letter declaring your boss unfit, knowing your boss can fire you, and also that half the country will never speak to you again, regardless of which way you vote. The founders put this in the Constitution. I respect the ambition. People argue that the 25th is faster. A cabinet vote can happen in hours. A House inquiry takes weeks. True at the start. But once the president contests it, which he can do immediately, both processes end up in Congress requiring the same two-thirds majority. The finish line is identical, and since Section 4 has never gotten that far, the speed advantage is entirely theoretical. So here is where we land. Two mechanisms for a president to leave office involuntarily. Impeachment, by Congress, for misconduct, requiring a two-thirds Senate conviction. The 25th Amendment, Section 4, by the Vice President and Cabinet, for incapacity, requiring a two-thirds vote of both houses to sustain. Both are deliberately difficult. The founders were more afraid of a destabilized government than they were of a bad president. These tools exist for genuine emergencies, not political ones, and in over 200 years of American history, neither has ever been used for its intended purpose. It is worth knowing they exist, how they work, and what they actually require. Not that any of this is suddenly relevant, not with a twice-impeached president currently in the White House, of course. That's all for today. Hope that actually made sense of it. If you found it useful, hit subscribe and tap the bell so you catch the next one. Agent Monahan will see you soon.